Hey everyone, welcome back to Iguana Gaming. I'm the Iguana, and today, guys, we are playing some more ARK Survival Evolved Mobile Edition. Today, we have just received a brand new update, guys. And yes, this update is actually going to be pretty amazing because there's a whole lot of really good stuff in it. So we're going to go through this piece by piece and kind of list off some of the things that have been added here. So, first things first, guys, is the Ancestry menu. So if you go up to any one of your tames that you have bred up, you can go ahead and click on this new button, Ancestry, above the stats, right next to the tames button. And it's going to bring up this little inventory. So this is a really cool thing because it tells you how many mutations you have on each side for your creature. So in this case, the parent generation is down at the very bottom. So these are the parents of this particular jerboa. And then you can count the generations going up back to the original jerboas that I revived from the dungeon. So very useful information. It doesn't tell you where the mutations are, but it does tell you how many you have, which is super handy. So if you go ahead and look at this guy, look at the ancestry here, you can see the number of mutations is a little bit different. So it's very useful. Very cool information here, and I do think this is actually pretty fantastic, honestly. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be a lot easier to keep track of mutations now and to make sure that you aren't accidentally getting mutations when you don't want them. So like this one has no previous ancestry because this is one of the jerboas that I originally revived. It's not been bred up. Cool, so that is the Ancestry UI, guys. I think it's actually really handy, especially for breeders, and yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so next items, guys. There have been a whole lot of additions to the in-game store, so we're going to go ahead and go through a few of these. First off, there's this new category, Dungeon Items. So if you look at the Dungeon Items here, guys, we do have a few new things that you can get. First off, you can get Element, which is purchasable for 300 Amber. You get 100 Element. And, guys, this is really important. This is not the same as Eerie Element. You can't use this for ammo, so you can't use this to charge up a tech rifle. I would guess you also can't use this to make tech grenades. So this stuff, it's going to be great for people who are trying to build tech bases, but it's not going to be useful too much in terms of being weaponized. You can't buy your way into winning a raid with the right ammo. So that is kind of nice. We may or may not be getting some of that so that we can build a tech base here on this game, but we'll see. Next, you can get facility keys, guys. These are 75 Amber for 5 keys. So if you don't want to have to go and find the facility key in each dungeon, you can just grab these, go straight to the facility door, get through it, and get through the dungeon a little bit faster. Now, this could actually be very useful, especially if you already know the dungeon layout and you're trying to speedrun these, perhaps on Blitz Week. This could be a very useful item. They are a bit pricey at 75 Amber, but I still think that could be great. All right. So, next is this Tech Blueprint Bundle. So, all of these blueprints are included in this bundle. 175 Amber, guys. Pretty pricey, but you get a ton of the blueprints. Now, you still have to be able to craft all of these items, so that is definitely a thing. And these are basically just building blueprints. So, the replicator, the trough, the light, etc. All of these beautiful building items that you get. Some of these have not actually released in dungeons yet, so that is going to be very cool if you want to go ahead and grab this. You can get some of those blueprints faster than you might otherwise. I'm probably not going to purchase this because I do run the dungeon so much that I don't think I need it. Alright, and then you can also get this Tech Saddle Bundle. So for 150 Amber, you can get 1 primitive Megalodon saddle, 1 primitive Mosa saddle, 1 primitive Tapejara saddle, and 1 primitive Rex saddle. So these are pre-crafted saddles. They're not blueprints. You just get the straight up saddles, which is pretty cool. That Rex saddle would look really good on a Rex, but again, guys, I do think they're probably going to give you the Rex blueprint at some point. So if you don't want to have a few extra saddles sitting around, you can just wait until those saddles make it into the actual dungeon loots. Alright, so that's the new dungeon items. So there's also a few more other things that are new. Let's go ahead and go into accessories here. So in accessories, guys, there are a whole bunch of new skins in here, and it is fantastic, actually. They've added the complete Manticore set, so the gauntlets, leggings, boots, shield, which is great. They've also added a few new skins, including some Halloween skins. So we have the cat mask, the dog mask, both of which are unique mobile-only items. The hunter's hat skin, which looks kind of like a cowboy hat, which is going to be fantastic for our Lone Ranger series. They also have the survivor's hat, which is kind of like a fishing style hat, I guess. It's a wide brim hat. It looks pretty cool. The vampire eyes, which is always really fun. I've always loved that skin. And then the witch hat, which is adorable. Definitely put this one on your otters and your jerboas. It's really cute. And then the torch sparkler skin, which is pretty cheap, but it's super, super fun. I love this skin on PC. It's a good skin. It makes any torch look like a sparkler. It does not hurt how the light shows up. It just makes it look like a sparkler. Alright, so that's all of the new accessories, and then there's also some new items in the decor, particularly in the garden. You can now get this beautiful garden tree, which I think is pretty cool. Pretty cheap. It's an Ingram, so you'll be able to make as many as you like, and I think that's going to be super great. Alright, and then there's also a new statue, the Batgoyle statue. Now, we will probably be using these around Halloween, guys, which is coming up. But I'm really excited that they made this, the Batgoyle statue. I bet it looks amazing. It's basically an onyx statue, and I think it looks cool, and I actually really like the name. I think the name is pretty great. Very unique. Alright. Cool. So that is all of the new skins and decorations, I think. It is a lot of new stuff, guys, in the in-game store that has been added, which is really cool stuff. It is a lot of amber that you could spend here on this update if you chose to. Otherwise, hang tight, guys, because I feel like there's probably going to be some sales coming up around Halloween for some of those skins and things. Alright, next thing, guys, is that this is a cool change. For people who own or play on unofficial servers, if you play on a PvP or PvX server, guys, you can now make your dungeon runs PvP. All dungeons are by default set to PvE. If you go ahead and make those PvP, you get twice the element rewards, but you can kill other survivors in the dungeon. So that's something really interesting to note. Just be aware that your server owner may make that change to increase element rewards, and be careful. Watch your back in the dungeons, guys. It could be a problem. Another change that's come is you can now request tames underwater in single player. So if you have like a lost megalodon or a lost ichthyosaur or something like that, you can now actually request it back to you via that tames menu, guys. You just need to make sure you're far enough underwater that the tame isn't going to die. Click on the tame, hit that request button, and then you'll be able to request it to you even though you're underwater, which is great. I think that's going to be really useful for people who lose their tames underwater, which happens to me all the time, so hopefully people will find that useful. Alright, a couple of other things. Yeah, that's basically the main bulk of it. There's more detail in tribe logs now, which is great. There's a fix for the torpor data, guys, so if you are on multiplayer and you have your spyglass, the torpor meter should now work correctly. You can see the little torpor bar at the very bottom of my top UI here. That should now work correctly on multiplayer. It's always worked on single player. Now it should work on multiplayer, so you can finally check how knocked out your Giga is while you're taming it, which is going to be super useful. Alright, cool. So those are the main things, guys. Everything else is kind of bug exploits and stuff. Now, bug and exploit fixes. There we go. Words are hard today. Alright, guys. So the next thing, and this is maybe the biggest thing that has been added, is T.O.A.S.T. T.O.A.S.T has been added to the game. I think it looks really cute. I'm super excited for it, guys. It is very pricey, and it can only be made in the Tech Kibble processor, so be aware of that. I have most of the ingredients here already. I'm going to go ahead and grab some long grass and rare flowers from my fridges here. We're going to make some toast, guys, and we are going to try it out on some creatures. I have a feeling that this toast, I'm not sure what it does, but I'm guessing you have to feed it to things to make it work, since it is toast. And it doesn't explain what it is. It is an acronym, but it doesn't tell you what it is or what it does. Alright, it's also an incredibly slow craft. It's probably a 30-second craft, guys, so bear with me for a minute here while we get some of these items going. Yeah, so it does take water, spark powder, 5 eerie element, which is very pricey. Hopefully it does something pretty good. Long grass, and then rare flowers. And it does spoil, guys, so just be aware of that before you go to use it. Make sure that you are aware of how much it costs and that it does spoil, so you have to use it in a certain amount of time. I don't think it spoils quickly from what I've seen, but it will eventually spoil. Alright, so let's go ahead and check this out. Basically, guys, I have a feeling that you're supposed to feed toast to creatures. I don't think you can't eat it yourself, which is great. It is a consumable item, so I feel like you have to feed it to your creatures. So we're going to go ahead and put this toast into our Giga here. Alright, you can't feed it to a Giga. Good stuff, good to know. Let's go ahead and try the Bronto. I did pull out a few creatures. Now, I'm not going to be able to test every creature here today, but I did want to test it on some of the other creatures here. Can't feed it to the Bronto. Let's try the Rex. Here we go. Nope, can't feed it to a Rex. Alright, actually, let's try some smaller creatures then. I'm a little disappointed that you can't feed it to the Giga, the Bronto, and the Rex. I'm not sure what it does yet, but that is a little bit of a bummer. The obvious thing to feed it to here is an Iguanodon. There we go. The Iguanodon eats it. Oh, look. Alright, so, okay, it looks like it got a massive stat increase, guys. Look at this. The health is, like, way bigger. That's about 50%. Alright, cool. So this effect lasts for 30 minutes. It has a 50% stat increase for about 30 minutes, guys, which is fantastic. Look at this. We're also 50% faster, which is amazing. Dude, we're, like, gonna be super strong now. That's actually great, and it does make sense that you can feed it to an Iguanodon. That's actually amazing. I love it very much. Yeah, I like that there's not a whole lot of information on it. It's kind of cool. Yeah, wow, that's an amazing boost in, like, melee and stuff. So, guys, if you do have creatures, yeah, we do way more damage now. Way more damage now. Okay, so it looks like Toast is an item that gives you a 50% stat increase on certain creatures. Definitely the Iguanodon. I hope that's not the only one it works on, as much as I love that you can feed it to an Iguanodon, for obvious reasons. I do hope that you can feed it to some other creatures as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the other pieces of toast. We're going to try them on some of these other creatures we have here. I didn't grab all of my creatures, I just grabbed a few, so hopefully we can test these guys out. It doesn't work on the Rex or the Spino. Next we can try the Rex or the Giga. Let's go ahead and craft that one. Alright. Okay. Let's go ahead and try the Spino here. Now, I have a pretty good Eerie Spino because I got it from one of the dungeons where they had a lot going on there. Alright, it doesn't look like you can feed it to the Spino, which is kind of a bummer. I wonder if there's anything good you can feed it to, or is it just Iguanodons? Okay, you can feed it to a Megalosaurus, guys. That's actually really cool. Megalosaurus are actually pretty strong, so getting a 50% stat increase on a Megalosaurus would actually be pretty good. What about a Carno? Yes, you can feed it to a Carno. Up. And I bet that means you can also feed it to a Raptor. Yes, you can. Okay. And I would bet you can't feed it to a Griffin. I would bet. It looks like what they're doing is they made the toast something that you could feed to certain lizards. Yeah, you can't feed it to that guy. The button doesn't come up. That's actually really interesting. So you can feed this stuff to certain lizards. You can't feed it to, like, the really big ones, which makes sense because that would be very broken in PvP. But it is a really cool stat boost that you can get on your creatures. I don't know what happens after 30 minutes. We might go ahead and just figure that out in a minute here. Yeah, I'm like double checking to make sure I didn't miss the feed button on some of these. I'm really bummed that you can't feed it to like any of the big creatures. Not the Spino, not the Rex, like nothing really big. The Megalosaurus is the biggest thing I think we could probably feed it to. The Megalosaurus is strong. It has a higher melee base than the actual Rex does, so that's pretty good. But you can only use them at night, and they're not very common, like, mounts to use. So that is kind of a bummer. But you can use them on Iguanodons, Carnos, Raptors, a lot of the smaller lizard-like creatures, which is pretty cool. I think that's a really cool nod of the hat. I do wish you could use it on something big, but that's alright. Alright, so, yeah, the toast buff, it does look like it wears off after about 26 minutes, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and speed up and let it wear off here for a minute because I do want to see if something happens when the buff wears off. Like, I feel like that's got to have some sort of cooldown. Like, maybe they get, like, really slow or something for a minute or something because a 50% stat increase is huge. Alright, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys back in about 25-ish minutes here when this toast is about to expire. I'll see you in just a minute. Alright guys, so this buff is just about to wear off here. Has been quite a while. Yeah, it's a nice long buff, which is nice. Oh. Alright then. Okay, so it looks like it makes the creatures go unconscious after that happens. Yeah, you get a toasted buff for 5 minutes. Okay, cool. So it looks like you get a 50% stat increase for 30 minutes, and then after that you have a 5-minute toasted buff where the creature is going to go unconscious, and the stats do return to normal. Alright, so it is temporary, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about the 5-minute unconscious buff. Just be really, really careful about how long you spend out and about doing things. But that's not too bad. I am a little disappointed that you can't use this toast buff on larger creatures. I wish I had an aloe to test it on because that would actually be kind of interesting to see if the aloes could also get it. But yeah, any of the larger creatures that might actually be useful in PvP situations don't get the buff, which I understand, but I also I'm kind of sad about because that makes the item kind of very expensive for what it does, which is a little disappointing. 5 element per craft, and then it doesn't really work on anything that people would really be using in that kind of context. So that's a bit of a bummer. Hopefully we'll get a full list of creatures that it does work on really soon. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have fun feeding it to my Iguanodons. I probably won't be using too much element on it because element is precious and difficult to come by. So, yeah, guys, big sad on the toast. I wish it had been a little bit better, but it's not too bad. Could be worse. Could be worse. I like the idea. I just wish it applied to some bigger creatures. But yeah, that is the whole update, guys. That is the October 2019 update. So, not too bad, but I do think that is going to do it for today's episode, guys. So, if you did find yourself enjoying this one at any point, please do remember to hit that like button, guys, because it seriously helps me out. And if you want to see more content like this, you can, of course, subscribe. I will catch you all in the next one. Signing off, this is the Iguana.